After the Sinai Campaign, attention is drawn to Syria. Perched upon the Golan Heights, Syrian guns ominously threaten the farmers below. Undefined since 1948, the border is determined by the plow, under a constant threat of landmines from below or being fired on from above. The farmers worked with permanent army protection. Increasingly, the Israeli Air Force retaliated against the Syrian positions. Settled in the most remote parts of the country, life in the isolated kibbutz communal farming village is especially tough. These villages become a buffer against their hostile neighbors and a target for Syrian guns. For a decade, the border with Egypt stays relatively quiet. In Jerusalem, Israeli and Arab Legion soldiers face off across a divided city. High walls separate the two sides. On January 1st, 1964, Yitzhak Rabin is appointed by Prime Minister Levi Eshkol to be Chief of Staff. Rabin starts his term in a time of growing tensions with Syria and Egypt. The next war seemed inevitable, and Rabin is tasked with the duty of preparing the IDF for the next round of confrontation. In Egypt, the masses call for jihad, holy war against the Zionists, while Egyptian television sends a clear message to Israel. The message reads, "The Arab nation has decided that the land of Palestine will be purified from your presence. Pack your belongings and go now before death finds you." Egypt demands a UN withdrawal from Sinai and Gaza. Confronted by an Arab effort that brings together over 500,000 heavily armored troops, Israel begins her biggest ever call-up of army reserves. The whole country waits for war. Chief of Staff Yitzhak Rabin supervises the preparation of one of the most daring battle plans ever conceived. On the morning of June 5th, 1967, the Israeli Air Force takes to the skies in a desperate all-or-nothing bid to break the fighting power of Egypt. With split-second timing, Israeli jets arrive simultaneously over 11 Egyptian airstrips, just as the Egyptian pilots below were having their morning coffee.
At 7:30, most of the officers and the soldiers that lived outside the base coming to the bases. So this was a time when the aircrafts are without fuel, the officers are not in their position. When they did not expect us, we arrived. And we arrived in waves. I was over an Air Force base next to Cairo. We succeeded in bombing the runways to prevent them from taking off, destroy all the MiGs that were trying to taxi to the takeoff position. There were a lot of smoke, there were explosions on the ground. The entire area looked like hell.
We prepared the Air Force to win quickly and decisively, complete air supremacy, and it was planned in a way that we will hit the air forces while they are mainly on the ground. The aspiration was not to fight, to win it by dogfight in the air, but to neutralize and destroy the air forces of our enemies by entirely different perception. And no doubt, the major success was in the first 3 hours of the war.
Over the next 3 hours, the young Israeli pilots fly non-stop, destroying hundreds of Egyptian planes on the ground. Establishing control of the sky, they fly over 1,000 sorties. In support of the ground troops barreling across the sands of Sinai, they do untold damage to Egyptian forces. At noon, Israel turns its attention to Syria, Jordan, and Iraq. Their air forces are destroyed within an hour. It now remains for the ground forces to finish what the Air Force had begun, and so they did. In 4 days of fierce tank-to-tank battles raging across the desert, Israeli armor and infantry breaks the back of 7 Egyptian divisions.
We developed advanced gunnery system that brought about tremendous improvement in the accuracy of our gunners. We then really knocked out tanks in 2-kilometer range, which was quite unusual for all the tank forces all over the world.
Capturing the whole of the Sinai Peninsula in less than 100 hours, thousands of Egyptian prisoners fall into Israeli hands. The war with Jordan begins when King Hussein orders his artillery to open fire on Jewish West Jerusalem and along the borders. Told by Nasser that Egypt is scoring spectacular successes, Hussein rushes to join the ranks of the victors. Israel's reply is a swift 3-day campaign that sweeps the Jordanians from the West Bank and pushes the border back to the Jordan River. Not stopping there, Israeli armored columns press north, straight into action to dislodge the Syrians from the Golan Heights.
It was very tough. The 1st Battalion that reached the plateau, out of almost 50 tanks, 4 tanks, came capable to move. All the others either were hit or technically could not move. I was given the time to finish the fighting by midnight. Towards the evening, I saw that in only one place of 3 armored brigades, we reached the plateau, only, the edge of the plateau.
Under pressure of time, Israeli tanks cut a road straight up the Golan's steepest slope, exactly at the point where the Syrian defenses are the weakest. Avoiding the killing fields prepared for them, Israeli tanks and infantry advance. With a great loss of life in hand-to-hand fighting, the infantry overcomes a near impregnable fortress. When it falls, the Syrian army crumbles. Under the leadership of Rabin, the Israeli soldiers complete their mission before a ceasefire is imposed.
The Israeli soldier is very good soldier. He has got the will to fight, the understanding what for he is fighting, the courage to fight, and the training to fight.
But without doubt, the central and most symbolic battle of the war came on the 3rd day in Jerusalem. After 30 hours of continuous and bloody fighting, in which they lost over 1 in 5 of their men, a reserve brigade of Israeli paratroopers managed to break in through the walls of the old city here at the Lion's Gate. In house-to-house fighting along every inch of its narrow lanes, with Arab Legion snipers covering them from every possible angle, the troops edged their way towards the Temple Mount. Chief of Staff Yitzhak Rabin, together with Defense Minister Moshe Dayan, arrive at the Western Wall. Within days of the unification of the city, the dividing walls were torn down. Jews and Arabs mingled in the streets, fascinated to meet each other face to face. In United Jerusalem, a military parade marking Israel's 20th anniversary displayed the country's newly won pride, along with the captured Soviet weapons. The Six-Day War was over, and victory was total, or so it seemed.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help us produce more compelling historical content like this, please like, comment below, and share this video with fellow history buffs. And of course, be sure to subscribe to help keep history happening.